And we're live. Hey, and I've got Matt with me. Yes, yes. Chris is observing. The daughter's school had an observation day, so it's one of those obligations, and they're always on Fridays, unfortunately. And it's funny because it's the only time you see Japanese teachers wear suits, like graduation and observation day, and otherwise they're wearing like sportswear. They look like New Jersey mafia most of the time.
Oh, Clarion says we have doubling.
Oh, are you kidding me? Okay, so that must mean thank you, Clarion. There it is. Okay, there we go, and we are live again without doubling.
Better?
I think I got it. Yeah, I'm getting really paranoid about that now. Yeah, so there's only two sources making noise. We should be good. Yeah.
Much better.
Oh, good. Yes. So, so sorry. So thank you, Matt, for helping out with hosting. And Chris is tied up. So in case it was hard to understand, observation day at a Japanese school, which is always fun. All right, but let's do this. So what have you been up to? Oh, yeah, so we did Outgunned. We did Outgunned Adventure. That was our last instead of... so we'll be returning to Dune, but Outgunned was our... so what did you think of running it? Like, how did it feel for you? Were there any surprises or anything that didn't work how you thought it would?
No, I mean, I went back and listened to it and realized I messed up a couple things. But, new game. Big
Yeah.
No, I liked it. Kind of like what Clarion was saying in the chat. I felt like it did a pretty good job of like making it feel like there were going to be these dangerous moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing the full set of rules and getting you guys to build some custom characters, and see where it goes. It'd be fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, definitely. Yeah, so
the Kickstarter is doing really well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, they're down to like their final week, right? Are they getting down to it? Yeah. The Replicant Rebellion just finished, and
backer kit, I should say, but yeah.
Oh, that's right, backer kit. That's right. Yeah,
got
so
another role they're gonna unlock. I think at like 400,000 euros or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, that's like I think they're coming up on 10 different roles now. Where
wow!
I think in the base game there were 4 or 5. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and that's a great thing about crowdfunding. I mean, they're adding stuff that is value added, but it's not going to make the book harder to print or more expensive to print. I guess it will literally add pages, but it's not going to be. Anything dramatic. It's not like producing a separate volume or anything. So that's good.
Oh, and my Knave 2.0 book shipped.
Oh, cool.
So maybe I'll do a little video on that.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that looks and if everyone's happy with that. I still haven't gotten my mothership. I think I'm in the I am in the 1% because they said 99% have shipped. So I'm very happy to be in the 1% that may never receive it.
Does Japan always last? Is that how it works?
It's become with indie RPGs it usually is because they're the most problematic. So I think they want to get most people happy and they want to get social media and stuff talking about it, and then they'll hand it off to all the grimy expats, But yeah. Oh, so I had my own Outgunned experience. Yeah, so we get to meet face to face for the first time in a long time. So we just met on a Wednesday night, which is rare that everyone was free. Nobody was free over the weekends. So I just ran the first part, kind of the first act of that Project Medusa. And we did original characters. So we had a commando, a cop, and a hacker. And I don't think I got across the jeopardy that you were able to do that really well. With us feeling like we're always in peril and how are we going to handle stuff, and it may be partly the adventure because it starts a little slow, and it's not. I don't know if it's a little roady or what it was that the players were kind of like reacting to. But I just didn't think I got the right atmosphere across, and that it ran as smooth as it did when we did the adventure version. But it's fun. It's got it's got some pretty big moments. But yeah. And it took a few rolls and everything. Oh, but we had some really interesting. One of the players was rolling 6 dice and rolled one of every symbol. So no successes, no re-rolls, nothing. It's like, that is amazing. Yeah. So
that should be its own thing in and of itself.
It should be. Yeah. Right. Yeah. One of each should be some magical. Yeah, because that's hard to do. So yeah.
So how did you? So listening to the creators live stream, and having not really done anything but browse through the original Outgun book, it sounds like the Outgun combat is more complex, and there's more of a I don't know, initiative system or something going on, and like the enemies will have feats and things where they're kind of getting rid of all that in Outgun Adventures.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because we were playing that, because it's intended, I think, to be an introductory campaign. In that first act, it said don't include the feats, the feats or the special abilities of the enemies, because basically you're just dealing with a bunch of thugs. There's not any big boss or anybody attacking you. It's just people to get in your way, and mostly they're just trying to delay you. It's like a kind of a time thing, so they're mostly just trying to get in your way. So they flee, pretty easily, and they go down very easily. So so we didn't have any of that. Yeah, so that was one thing. I had all the cards and everything. I'm like, oh, look at all these juicy feats, and the adventure said, don't bother yet, because we're just trying to get the players into it, because I think it will make it pretty difficult. Because depending on their choices and how they face stuff, it is going to be rough. The player that played the hacker, though, was pretty happy. So they had no combat. They weren't involved in combat, but they participated a lot with the chase mechanics and everything, because it's all creative kind of storytelling. Like if you're chasing something, you can increase your speed by decreasing the speed of the thing you're chasing. So there was a lot of fun kind of problem solving stuff that came up. But yeah, I don't know what it was. I just didn't think I got across the tension wasn't there, and I was trying to figure out a good way to kind of, and maybe we were drinking and stuff, so maybe it was going to be hard to to control things. It was all kind of loosey goosey, but yeah, it was fun. I like the mechanics were fun. Oh yeah, and because we're in person, we got to use the coins and the cards and everything. So those little cards work really well for adrenaline, to be passing adrenaline to people, and then you flip the card over when you've used it. So I think that works well visually. So you're not always marking pips or marking circles on your sheet. You have a physical thing. Yeah, so that worked pretty well.
That's good. Yeah. So I guess in Outgun Adventures, your enemies in a combat situation, they just have like a grit value, and it's more, it's real fluid. Under normal circumstances, the adventurers are going to go first, and they'll decide how they want to deal with things, and then there'll be a reaction turn.
Yes.
And basically, all you're doing is making a reaction roll. So there's not a lot of bookkeeping or tactical planning for the game master to have to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and that was the thing that surprised me too, is I don't do any rolls. So they have the dice the whole time, and so that was fun to. So they get to kind of problem solve with their action, and then I face them with a challenge, and maybe they're rolling kind of bad stats for their reaction. So yeah, I like that a lot. So hey, I think actually, sorry, this is recording from home. These things happen. I think there's somebody at the door. Let me go grab that. I'll be back in just a second. So go ahead and vamp a little, Matt, if you want to talk about some more Outgunned.
Oh dear. Okay. Let's talk about no rolling, no GM roll games, because I'm curious actually, Orcus, what you think of those. I used to think I would hate them. What's the Free League one? Symbaroum. When I read about that, I was like, oh, I don't know about that. And then playing in person, my in real life group, we're playing Black Sword Hack and have been for a while. And there's no GM rolling in that one. And it's like no big deal. Like I thought I would hate it, and I don't even really care. In fact, it kind of frees me up to think more about the narrative stuff and not worry too much about anything else. And Outgun Adventure is the same way, like no rolling, and I kind of dig it. Hey, Miguel. No WotC drama today. I'm sure it's there. We just haven't heard it yet. Symbaroum, yeah. I feel like there's some others that I'm forgetting about right now. Is the Monty Cook game a no-roll game? What is that? Cipher system or something? This Delta Green, I believe, is just the newest iteration of the game. Same people, as far as I know. Not the old BRP system, though. I'm pretty sure they changed it to a house system. I used to play it when they were using BRP, the basic role-playing system from Chaosium. But I think it's their own house system now. I still play a GM in capacity for them because you're still going to be the GM. That doesn't go away. Those I'm still skeptical of. Most GM-less games. We played an X-Files style campaign in college. Yay! Yeah. Played some of those in the late 90s, early 2000s. Delta Green was definitely one of them. It was always funny because I played with a bunch of Call of Cthulhu people, and then we tried Delta Green, which is set in, modern times, 90s or whatever, and they just completely would forget about technology. Like they would, because they're so used to playing in like the 20s, they would just forget, oh yeah, I can call them on a phone. Or Simber rules were wonky too. Some confusion in translation. I really enjoyed running it. Wait a minute, that last sentence doesn't really go with the pre. Is this a Cadwallon situation? Oh man, that game hurt my brain. Simbarum looks beautiful, man. The art direction, all the layout, and just atmospheric images is really nice. Yeah, but that Hubble bundle, I'm glad he put it in here because that's a really good deal. And then DC20, oh man, everyone's talking about DC20. I'm going to start a fire. What do you guys think about the Acolyte? Oh, are we gonna do the Acolyte burns? Oh man. Here's what I'll say about the Acolyte. The fighting is much more like real-time fighting than Ahsoka. The whole Ahsoka slow-mo crappy fight choreography, at least they improved on that. They gave the girl the little Naruto style throwing daggers, which I thought was kind of funny. It's okay. Like for me, it's just okay. It's not, oh my god, this is terrible, but it's also the fire thing was stupid. Okay, Miguel. Like the argument about that I'm hearing from the fervent Star Wars folks is that Star Wars is a fantasy, it's not science fiction. So get over it. But it was like a 2-minute fire in space. And then she used a conventional fire extinguisher.
I know what
Like,
you're talking about.
Miguel got me started on Acolyte.
Yes. Yeah, so that episode 3, oof. It's setting the Disney hate on fire. Yeah.
Fire in space is possible, but it's going to be limited, and it's not going to look like that looked. That was just this big fire going on, and then she sprays a very conventional seeming fire extinguisher at it, and all of that could have been done some more Star Warsy. It could have been like weird electrical discharges, and she could have used some kind of energy thing to put it out. But instead, they just went, fire and fire extinguisher. What the hell?
Yes. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, it looks like they'll give anyone a Star Wars series these days. Anyone that's got good blackmail on somebody higher up in a company. I mean, the writer-director of that series has never been accountable for, maybe accessory to Me Too that she may have been involved with, and hasn't had to say anything about it. So, anyhow, I won't I won't derail everything with that. But yes,
a foam gun. Yeah. Do you remember the Firefly episode where they are breaking into the derelict ship, and they just put that putty around it, and it just sizzles for a second, and then they pull the panel off? That would be so much more realistic. That kind of thing. But anyway, digress.
Hey, Orcus, how's it going? So Miguel and Orcus and Calerion, nice to see everybody. Very good. Yeah, thanks for catching the audio doubling at the beginning. So sorry, I didn't mean to take so long and have you divert you into Star Wars, but yeah, missing cat in the neighborhood, so I couldn't tell them to go away. Yeah. So maybe like one neighborhood over. So yeah, I had to be kind and patient and listen to the whole description. So if you see this cat in anyone's internet, if anyone's Instagram with their pictures of Japan, please contact. Yeah, it's too bad, but it seems like a lot of the stray cats are were former house cats that just kind of got away and then got too far from their home, because we've got some really tame, really friendly, kind of wild cats around. I want that
to become a whole thing where they end up getting taken in by the Yakuza and forced to work in a cat cafe.
Yes. That's right. Cat cafes, cat trafficking. In Japan, you gotta. It's a thing. You gotta be careful.
Cat hostess clubs.
Yep. The cuter the cats, the more susceptible they are. That's so funny.
They keep telling that Russian blue that 2 more years and they'll let her go.
Getting him hooked on catnip, and it's all downhill from there. Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, Miguel's right. Yeah, add cat girls, and it's a bestseller. Nice. So we're gonna pick up some Dune tomorrow and see how that goes. So it'll be like maybe session 0 part 2 because we'll kind of be making plans for how we're gonna move forward.
Act break.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So sorry about the delay. Should we do this? Are we all set?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. So Matt was kind enough to help with the co-hosting this week. So Chris is out. We'll see what happens next week. So this week on the weekly, we'll start with some breaking news. So it's been announced by both Asmodee and the studio handling the games that both X-Wing and Armada are done for. We got some statements online about that. So Atomic Mass Games, that's right. All under the Asmodee banner. Also, Electric State on Netflix, Delta Green Humble Bundle, DC20 breaks 1 million, so we're going to have multi-million flavors of 5e everywhere. Thank you, OGL. And the last little AI story. So Wacom comes up with some technology to protect artists, but I don't think they don't understand what the problem is. So let's start with our breaking news. Oh, actually, no. First, before I don't do news. This is not good. Breaking news. Wait, but first, we had a comment, an interesting comment that I wanted to regarding last week when we were talking about Demiplane and Roll20. So Minor League Gaming wrote on the YouTube that from the Demiplane side, they acquired Roll20, not the other way. And I'm more likely to trust the horse's mouth. So like the Demiplane Discord, and the announcement post is we acquired Roll20, not we were acquired. So that's interesting. So somebody that was on the actual Demiplane Discord, there was a post from Demiplane that said, yeah, we acquired Roll20. And my only source for that original announcement was an exclusive from comicbook.com. So, these are blogs and these are, so there was no other source to compare against that at that time. So I thought that was interesting, but it has since come out though. Demiplane has posted on X that we're incredibly excited to share that we have been acquired by Roll20, at Roll20 app. We will be joining the likes of Drive-Thru RPG and Dungeon Scroll as products powered by Roll20. And then there's a statement now officially on their blog. So yeah, Roll20 has acquired Demiplane, not the other way around. But we had that same sort of thing with Steamforged and the War Machine. The announcement was like we're collaborating, we're working together, and then it's like, well, everything's moving to their website. They're basically handling everything. So yeah, I don't know how the money thing is going, but that looks pretty much like acquisition, because they're going to be managing the lines and everything. But at first, even Privateer Press didn't term it, that way, acquisition. Maybe that turns people off. Maybe they're worried about turning, players and customers off, thinking stuff will disappear or, the likes. And that might have been the Demiplane strategy as well until everything was, confirmed. They weren't going to make everybody sad about moving to Roll20. Anyhow, so back to the breaking news. So exciting. We need bumpers to just be constantly repeating again and again and again. Yes, so I just got this email, and it was funny. It was Frontline Games sent some promotional email for their web shop, and they used the statement from Asmodee about X-Wing and Armada to direct you to their to the pages where they sell these miniatures. So the X-Wing game and the Armada game, formerly of Fantasy Flight, acquired by Asmodee and then managed now by Atomic Mass, are losing support. They hereby say, yeah, you remember you're waiting for stuff for us to produce more content for these games. Well, that's never going to happen. And people have been waiting, I think, for a few years with kind of, nothing to show for it once Atomic Mass took it over. So they, and it may have worked because if you followed the Frontline Games, the links from their email, everything was sold out. So I guess it was a good strategy. Use those press releases to promote your web store because, people are probably panic buying because they're thinking now we have a finite quantity of X-Wing and Armada ships. So the statement from Asmodee said, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt appreciation to the Star Wars X-Wing and Star Wars Armada communities. While the development of the game is ending, we will have a limited quantity of the product available for purchase while supplies last. Get yours quickly. The adventure is far from over. So they let the hoarding begin. If you thought people hoarded toilet paper, imagine how they're going to hoard X-Wings. So we are here to support Atomic Mass Games through a farewell tour culminating in an Open Worlds Championship at Adepticon March 2025. This will be a fantastic opportunity for fans to enjoy these games to the fullest with our full support every step of the way. But after that, you're on your own. Yeah, so we'll see. But that's not all. Our dedication to the Star Wars galaxy remains stronger than ever. We are thrilled to bring you new adventures of ongoing expansions and developments in both Shatterpoint and Legion. So they're not going to give up the miniature war games, just the ships. And yeah, interesting. So, and then they ended it. Thanks for being part of our community. There were some interesting comments under this release on, I think, Daka Daka. People were kind of chiming in and said once they handed kind of, stewardship of these games over to Atomic Mass, nobody at Atomic Mass likes ship games. So nobody wanted to develop for it. And so that's why there was kind of a lack of, excitement. They want to do miniatures games. They want to do Star Wars miniatures, not Star Wars ships. So they just kind of went away. And then other people were reminiscing about how big the first edition of X-Wing was, and saying at a UK game show, there were 100 tables of X-Wing at a single convention. So at its peak, it was a pretty significant, and I think that was like right before the prequel, or the sequel trilogies got underway. So people were getting all ramped up for Star Wars. What was your experience like at local game stores and stuff? Was there a X-Wing or Armada scene at all?
Not Armada. There were definitely X-Wing players, especially like you said in its peak moment. I played X-Wing. I thought it was pretty cool. But it's one of those games that either you're always playing at an organized thing or you're getting your friends to buy into it too.
Yeah.
And I didn't like going to organized things, and my friends didn't want to pay for X-Wing, so we didn't follow up. I did buy the core set for Armada, and Will and I played it, and I found it very disappointing. We played it. You get out the big capital ships and there's little squadrons of fighters, and it's like, okay, this should be awesome. And by the end of the game had ended. One of us had lost, and none of the capital ships had been destroyed. Oh, and it's just, and it was long. It was a couple hours, and I was just like, oh, come on, what do you think about with like in Star Wars when there's a big ship battle? There's always a capital ship going down somehow. Right. And like the game was set up like it was really hard to destroy a capital ship, and the game so that they had like a point kind of system to end the game. And so because they made it so hard to actually destroy a capital ship. So I thought that was a flaw.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then I saw an article about this topic, and I had never heard of that company that took it over from Fantasy Flight. So like I'm reading through it, and they didn't mention Fantasy Flight at all in the one I saw, and I'm like, who the hell is this? So I didn't know what was going on, but I do think it's funny, right? That Embracer just saddled Asmodee with, what was it, like $500 million or something?
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous amount of debt to cut them loose. Yep. And now they're like, oh, we're gonna start cutting these lines. Boom, boom, and
no, that's true. And they did. So let me get back to the. So Atomic Mass did release a statement as well. And they wrote on social media, after long and careful consideration, we are here today to announce the end of development on X-Wing and Armada. We are grateful to the community's passionate engagement and support. And after the past few years, the rising production costs, global manufacturing, and pandemic-related challenges have made it increasingly difficult to produce a high-quality, pre-painted miniatures, which ultimately led to the decision to end the development. Although development is ending, we are not stepping away from these games entirely. Atomic Mass will continue to support. Yeah, they reiterate that they'll be at Adepticon 2025. So thank you for your support. Yeah, and I think there's been Fantasy Flight has kind of stumbled into that a few times, because I think that was the reason for the end of the Confrontation pre-painted mini-series, and even AT-43. Yeah, I mean, high quality pre-painted miniatures are not something to go into lightly. And then when the costs rise, and it's funny because it doesn't really please anybody. I think there's a very small crowd of people that are so happy to take a nice looking painted miniature out of the box and play with it. Everybody else wants to repaint it or touch it up or put some washes on it. And a lot of people want to cut it off of a sprue. So when you eliminate the hobby of the game, then you eliminate, I think, a certain number of players. And if it's then really expensive to produce, then I think you've got a limited time.
Yeah, Fantasy Flight did that with the Star Wars collectible card game that came before the current one. And of course, I'm blanking on its name right now. But anyway, it had custom dice, and every card had its own custom die.
Oh, okay.
And so their cost of production was ridiculous, especially compared to any other normal collectible card game.
Yeah.
And it was a real shame because the system, I had a lot of fun. I actually went to tournaments and stuff.
Oh, wow.
That game. It was pretty popular for a second. And they just couldn't afford to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah, I remember that they were having trouble, stocking, production, as things started getting delayed, like new releases, and then things were out of stock. And when you've got a good system and something that people want to play and you can't get it in their hands or continue to support, give them expansions and stuff, that's really frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. And I think Star Wars, you guys were talking before the cast, Star Wars is not in a good situation right now. They haven't had a film in a while, and they're not producing any new ships. You're going to be making ships out of comic books and novels, basically. So these games are kind of stagnant because you don't have any new kind of content, new designs to incorporate and things to get people excited about. Yeah, I think the Mandalorian's ship that was destroyed was the only kind of new ship that we saw in a while. And otherwise, there's just a lot of improvised stuff. And I think some of it did come from comic book inspiration and stuff. And so I think Star Wars is going to, stagnate for a while. I mean, I think they've got enough content for the Shatterpoint because they're releasing larger format, smaller numbers of minis. They can keep going for a while with that. But and they even said, there was a comment that said it really did feel like the first edition of X-Wing was limited because the rule set wasn't strong enough to really support, adding a lot of new mechanics and really stretching it out. So then they moved to the second edition, kind of revised. That was a much better rule set that probably had better legs. It would be able to survive a lot longer competitively. But people got so angry at having to buy so much new stuff, for second edition, all the new cards and whatever you needed to do to get anything you already own working, and then buy new stuff. And then, people just couldn't get excited about the same models repainted, from the sequel trilogies and stuff. So, they didn't handle it particularly well. But that's, I think, a lot of the, what was handed to them from Fantasy Flight. They've always kind of, it's so sad that companies don't go into this. They're just looking at the production and the profit. They're looking at spreadsheets, and they're not thinking from the inception, let's make a complete game. And then if it remains popular, we can support it. We can support it with expansions, but let's have an end point to this thing. They're just especially with living card games and everything, let's just keep cranking out, this game, messing with the mechanics until it's unrecognizable, and we'll just stop. It's just it's cold turkey on all these games when they're just yep, we lost the license or we're out of ideas and we're done.
Yeah, it was always a real pain point with Fantasy Flight because they would have these really cool licenses, and for the most part, their design was nice, but they were always about monetizing, right? So they would, any of their board games would have the weird size cards because they wanted to sell you special sleeves for them. Anything that had dice would have to be proprietary dice, like that Star Wars game, or the Genesis, all the Genesis role-playing stuff. And before that, the Star Wars role-playing stuff all had custom proprietary dice. And that has always been kind of their thing, is how can we monetize this beyond you just buying this game,
Yeah, that's true. It's that mentality has not helped the actual games themselves. So I feel sorry for some of the designers that really did nice work and then had, kind of lost their player bases and stuff because of the economics of it, just the money making. But So let's start with our first story about the Electric State. So someone's doing well. I hope this helps everybody that's involved, because as we saw, the Electric State was crowdfunded. So kind of it's a next the next book in kind of the series that the Swedish illustrator that did Tales from the Loop, whose work was based on. So Simon Stålenhag did a book called The Electric State that was released. It was released a while ago, and there was kind of fights for the rights of it. Yeah, originally published in December of 2017. Similar to Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood, it's an art book that kind of depicts a fantasy world or kind of an alternate world or some interesting, interesting kind of sci-fi concept, and then has text. So there's like little pieces, little fragments of story that kind of lead you through, some world building or what he was trying to do with the world. And so The Electric State was one of these books, and a little bit different. It wasn't kind of the nostalgic Swedish 80s anymore. It was a look at kind of broken down American decadence, kind of road trip movie style. And so after that book was published, there was a bit of a bidding war, I guess, over the rights of it. And the Russo brothers, famous for their Marvel turn, optioned it, and they had a director lined up. And then the project was sold to Universal in 2020. Millie Bobby Brown was already attached. The Russo brothers were now stepping up to direct, not just, I guess, produce. And then exclusively, it was taken over by Netflix in June of 2022, officially announced as a project, and in late June of that year. And now we're February 2023, filming concluded. So they're doing a film version, a Netflix film version, probably the most expensive movie that Netflix has made in a sci-fi film. So the directors of Infinity War are producing or directing The Electric State for a estimated $320 million. The initial budget was $200 million, and but there have been reports of up to $320 million. So this is part of the streaming wars. They're putting names and stuff together. Although I don't know The Electric State, it may bring in gamers, but nobody knows. I don't think there's a huge awareness of this work. They'll have to promote the book pretty hard for people to even know what's going on. And it's an art book, it's not a novel, so it might be a little confusing. So we have the Russo brothers. We have $320 million. Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt. We have Stanley Tucci. We have Billy Bob Thornton, Jason Alexander, Anthony Mackie, Brian Cox, Jenny Slate, Huy Quan, short round, and Giancarlo Esposito are all involved. So
we know who the villain is then.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. And we know where all that money went. Oh my God, that's a lot of names. A lot of them are just voice actors, though. So I guess there's going to be a lot of robots or a lot of technology or whatever that is just going to be voice roles. So people are going to be the voices of a lot of the CG. So yeah, a retro-futuristic past. And basically, the story is an orphan teenager is traveling across the American West with a mysterious robot, eccentric drifter in search of her younger brother. And we'll see how that plays out. So hopefully that's not too strange. That's not too much of a departure from the story they were trying to tell in the original graphic novel.
If they keep to his aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like he spent a lot of money, so it better be a visually high quality, and they actually promote it,
Mm-hmm.
it'll probably be good. Like
Mm-hmm.
even like anyone who's into sci-fi type stuff who maybe hasn't heard of Electric State, if they can see it and it looks like the original stuff, and it looks well made, it'll probably do pretty good. I assume. My thing with Netflix is I think they're just on autopilot. Like I feel like they don't like really try to very hard to promote their stuff.
Yeah.
Especially outside of their app. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Everything I saw about Rebel Moon, which now, of course, I wish I'd never seen anything about Rebel Moon.
Right.
But from a promotional, it was all third-party hype. It was never Netflix promoting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and unless you're driving down Sunset and they're flexing on the movie studios and you see these buildings covered with a Netflix ad, that's where all their money is going. They're not putting it into the rest of the country or the rest of the world to promote this stuff. Yeah, like so Jennifer Lopez's Atlas didn't do it for you. That wasn't the sci-fi robot thriller you were hoping it to be. So it's some of these Netflix movies that have been coming out and, like you're saying, getting no marketing, no support. They seem like movies made based on fake trailers that were in real movies. Like if you see a fake trailer in a real movie and it's supposed to be kind of funny and show a famous person in a surprising role, that's that's what these Netflix movies are. They're just like okay, let's make that movie. You know that funny trailer in whatever Dumb and Dumber? Let's make that movie. And it's so strange. And I think the problem you had with traditional movie studios is they would make a crazy trailer. They would get you to the box office, you buy that ticket, and they don't care what happens after you've bought the ticket. They don't even care if you go into the movie theater. And so Netflix has this same sort of thing now. They just want to get you to subscribe. You don't even have to watch anything. They hope you don't watch anything that you were just like, oh, that Jennifer Lopez movie, I want to see that. I'll click subscribe, and I forgot to watch it. It's that weird thing where they really hope you don't really want to interact, consume the media, because it's not going to be very good. It's just, it's like a placeholder.
Yeah, because most of it's kind of algorithm built, right? Or if not algorithm built, like the reason it got approved was because it checked all their algorithm boxes. And so usually when you actually watch it, it's real hollow. It's real like, oh, this was a waste of time.
Yeah, and once you have that experience over and over again, you just stop trusting that brand. It's just, it's so weird. Even when you have like big name directors, like there was a Michael Bay movie on Netflix. It was just terrible. It was really expensive, really big set piece stunts and things. And it was like, wow, how could they not even get Michael Bay trash to be entertaining? It was shocking that they can destroy popcorn movies.
I might say all Michael Bay stuff is garbage, but okay.
No, but I know it is, but they couldn't even execute that. They couldn't Netflix couldn't make a Transformers movie. That's how sad it is. That's like a pretty strange thing, is that they're not even able to like have that baseline entertainment.
I get what you mean. It's like there are mass consumption sort of movies that should expect to be hits whether you like them or not, and like I get what you're saying. It's kind of like if they did a Fast and Furious movie, it should be a hit, but it's Netflix, so they fucked it up.
right, something gets lost in translation. I've heard people tell stories that like pitching to Netflix, there's a guy sitting there with a laptop that has access to the back end, and you're pitching things and they're kind of like looking, and they're probably putting terms together, putting genres together, and then they're estimating your budget and they're giving you a yes or no depending on how much money they're gonna be able to give you and what's been successful in the past. And I don't think that's a great way to make movie deals. You need somebody that has an instinct for the audience taste, not just looking at this this weird back end data of who knows what. Like could be global data. You have no idea what they are actually deciding from. But so this is the first Simon Stålenhag adaptation. We've also gotten Tales from the Loop. So Amazon, and that was another, I think, kind of poorly promoted series. So Tales from the Loop, which had a really interesting tone. Like I liked the fact that they executed this timelessness. Like you didn't know when the heck this was happening. You had this strange technology, and you had it was kind of Northern Europe in some weird way, and very strange. But I think the problem that they had a kind of an overarching story, but they also had, it was also kind of strangely episodic. Like there was a through line, but it was episodic. So it felt more like a Twilight Zone. And if you didn't really know what this was based on or anything, it was, it was not very satisfying, kind of confusing. Like, okay, so am I going to watch to the end, or do I just want to see, what characters they come up with next?
I think it's hard to create like meaningful substance in his worlds. Like I'm not saying you can't do it, but I think it's harder to do it because he's not really giving you like a giant playbook of lore or anything. It's more of like a feel.
It is. So atmosphere.
I think it would make more sense for someone to run like a campaign, a Tales from the Loop campaign, and then write a script based on what happened. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, that's true. Because doing that work, doing the world building work, the character, work and everything, interaction, dynamics between the characters, I think would be much more interesting. Yeah, so but hopefully this will be good. I don't know if Tales from the Loop the Amazon series gave them any sort of bump at all in sales or recognition, because it may have just been people may have thought there were two things with the same name if they happened across either the board game or the tabletop RPG after seeing the Amazon series. But hopefully Free League can time this out with the retail release of the Electric State. There could be some kind of media, something for people to participate in if they were excited by this movie, and they can ride a little Amazon promotion or Netflix promotion if in fact there is any. But this is a big payday for a lot of people. So we'll see.
Yeah, half that budget's got to be the cast, because those people, some of those are some big names. Even Giancarlo Esposito is kind of hot as a bad guy now, and like he's probably getting a decent salary out of it.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what this ends up being, and hopefully it'll at least be fun to see this visually represented. But they may get the tone wrong, and I think they may have chosen a not very interesting story. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so possibly the problem with Netflix is Elder Gods. I mean, it's possible. It's possible Cthulhu has had some sort of effect on how they're deciding what gets made. But you can fight Cthulhu with the new Humble Bundle that's out now, because Delta Green, what a segue, the kind of modern take on Call of Cthulhu. So instead of playing investigators in Delta Green, investigating the Eldritch Truth, you are members of a secret government organization. So more like X-Files, and so it's I think it's a really great take, and I think it's a really I've read through some of the books. Have you ever played Delta Green, Matt?
Yeah, actually, I played the old one. That was a question that came up was when you were gone. Was
which edition?
I believe the current version of Delta Green is a house system, correct? I played it when it was a BRP based system.
Oh, okay, I see.
So way back. But it was fun. I love all the conspiracy. It was loaded with conspiracy stuff.
That's good.
Very X-Files. Very X-Files. But actually, one of the funny things I was telling the guys in the chat was we went coming from a Call of Cthulhu gaming background. My players kept forgetting about technology.
Right.
Like they kept forgetting, we could just call somebody, or
right.
If we do this, the cops are gonna come get us. It's so much different than the Roaring '20s Call of Cthulhu, where it's like, let's just burn the house down.
Yeah, that's really true.
But it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun when I played it.
Nice. Yes, so this bundle is running until June 22nd. It's going to give you everything you need to play the latest edition of Call of Cthulhu. They're not giving me an edition number, but it's the core books, and then a lot of accessories and supporting materials. And this is supporting Covenant House, which is a food shelter and crisis care for homeless and trafficked young people. So it's so it include the Agent's Handbook, the Handler's Handbook, and then volumes like Impossible Landscapes, Conspiracy, God's Teeth, Night at the Opera, Control Group, The Labyrinth, Black Sites, Iconoclast, The Complex, Static Protocol, and Arc Int. And so this is $18 for everything that you're looking at there, and of course they give you the the value if you bought everything separate digitally, and it's always hundreds of dollars, so you're always saving a lot, and you're giving to charity. So why the heck not? So if you've been looking at getting into Delta Green, or at least seeing what it's all about, so that's 20 books for $18, and I'll put a link in the description to the Humble Bundle page.
Really good deal.
If to see kind of where, and just to see where things are at in this newest edition, I think that's not bad at all. And these are the nice thing too is they're DRM free PDFs, so you don't have to, your name isn't printed in them or anything. Humble Bundle lets you download them directly from your little page, your little locker on their site. So cool. Yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, and there was one. Somebody was really ranting when it came out. There was some kind of world building book, and I can't remember the name of it. It was if it's like Impossible Landscape or one of these like kind of accessory world building books for Delta Green that is really really well done. That could be kind of that thinking and that system of world building could be kind of ported over to other different systems. That it was really really well executed. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Checking out the books if you have any curiosity, like playing modern Cthulhu, and do they? Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's changed in different versions, but kind of pulling punches because people have been afraid of insanity mechanics or insanity scores and stuff. So recent iterations of Cthulhu Mythos games have yeah.
Orcus in the chat said the new system is kind of a house-ruled version of BRP.
Oh, interesting.
So they modified that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time ago when I played, so I don't really remember, but I don't remember much difference between the normal BRP and that. But I'm sure they've adapted. These guys have been working on this for so long.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they've adapted it, changed it.
Nice. Very cool. All right, we got to talk about the new hotness. It's inescapable. Yet another flavor of 5e, the perfected, so everybody is like vying for the crown of 6th edition, right? We've got so many. We've got Tales of the Valiant. We've got the Coville MCDM, and now we'll add to that DC20. So from Dungeon Coach. Is that so? It's another vanity title, right? It's Dungeon Coach 20. Yeah. We gotta stop doing that, guys. I think Tales of the Valiant is a better way to go. But anyhow, they broke $1 million, so we're gonna have these another $1 million RPG project. So currently, as of when I put these notes together, $1.3 million from their $20,000 goal. So yes, so this new system, this new D20 heroic fantasy system innovates on the best parts of 5e and Pathfinder. So this is based on the designs of Alan Bjorkgren, who is Dungeon Coach on YouTube. And I recognized the name, but when I saw the promotion video, I don't think I've watched any of his stuff. So maybe he's very deep into 5e and I don't walk those roads.
Slippery path.
Right. So yeah, so it's claiming to have a familiar feel if you play Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, but its innovations are customizable character building options and mechanics for all 3 pillars of fantasy. So I guess the pillars of fantasy would be what? But they're talking about a 4-point action turn system. I think Pathfinder 2nd edition has a 3-point. So this is a 4-point, so it's one better. A prime stat that is used in standard actions. So you can choose your main stat and you're always rolling that for any necessary tests. A stamina point pool that I think becomes a mana point pool if you are a caster, if you're magic. So you're powering abilities and things by building up these points of either stamina or mana. And so that kind of divides things between martial and magic classes pretty distinctly. So it looks, and they reduced it to 4 stats as well. So it's 4 points, 4 action points, and 4 stats. So they got rid of Constitution and the other dump stat, not charisma. But
something.
Yes, I think might. Yes, I think they do might, which is strength and Constitution kind of combined, and then there's something that takes maybe wisdom and intelligence are combined as well. So the thing I was surprised though, it's a little pricey. So the PDF of just the core book is $30. If you want a hardback copy of the regular design, it's $65. I think you also get the PDF, and then the tiers go up to $95 for digital all-in. So they're going to do additional books. You only need the core book to play, but they're going to do a lot of supporting books, monster manuals type things, and all sorts of supporting books that is $95 to get all of the PDFs. That's pretty dear for only PDFs, but every single pledge level does include beta access. but it goes up really steeply from there. So $145 gets you a physical core book and the digital all in as well. So you get all the digital books and a core book for 145. The deluxe of the core book, 265, but I think you're getting all the PDFs. And the group deluxe is $595. And you get some extra stuff with the deluxe packages. They're giving you dice and, initiative. They don't do initiative. I think they have, it's another kind of go when you want system, but some little accessories that go, game accessories to help you on the table. So have you taken a look at the PDF, Matt, or anything about this Dungeon Guys game?
Yeah. Okay, two things.
Okay.
First off, anybody, I think, like us who's really invested in the RPG hobby, we can be goldfish, like a new hotness comes out and that gets our attention.
Mm-hmm.
But the worst of us are the people who only play 5th and who are thinking about leaving the walled garden, but they just want to leave it for someone who looks like their ex-girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're the worst. No offense to you people, but you're the worst. It's like Tales of the Valiant. Oh, screw you, because now there's McDungeon. Oh, screw McDungeon. Now there's DC20. Which is not only based on the dude's handle, but it's also like a 5th edition pun. So it's just really annoying to me. But I was venting about this a little on Threads. I have to admit, the action point thing, I laughed out loud when I read that, because I was like, oh, so you're incorporating a reaction rule into a D&D clone. So you're kind of just Frankensteining something, taking rules from games that anyone who's spent any meaningful amount of time playing games other than D&D has probably encountered. And all these folks who are in that walled garden peeking over are acting like it's just this amazing revelation.
Right.
Which kind of, I get that some of them just don't have the exposure. I do. But some of them do, and they know better, and it drives me nuts. So, yeah, like Orcus said in the chat, it's like they're just kind of mashing things into a 5th edition game. And that's the classic problem with 5th edition is, and Chris talks about this on your show all the time. It's like, why are people always trying to square peg round hole stuff into 5th edition? Why can't they just see there's other ways to go? You know what I mean? Like, so it's already beat Tales from the Valiant on Kickstarter. I saw. So rest in peace to that game. Nobody talks about it anymore. MCDM, I'll believe it when I see it. And also, it sounds like 4th edition, so I really don't care.
Right.
So this one's just another one on the pile to me. Like, I'm so much more excited about like a new Outgun Adventures or finding out if they're going to make a new system for that Conan RPG. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff is just, like I said, it's just dating a girl who looks like your ex-girlfriend. It's not like substantive to me. But they're making a ton of money, so God bless them.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and I think they can't help, especially if they, these are people that have maybe made third-party products supporting 5e. They've been immersed in 5e. They realize that what an audience they have, and especially like if it's a YouTuber that's built a significant following or someone on social media like Colville, they can carry that onto crowdfunding and just clean up. Even though, it's there's got to be some fatigue. I mean, how many of these $1 million new systems are there really going to be? I was just surprised how and also with the MCDM, the price got way out of control. Like, he would let you drop like $500, $700 on that game. Why would you do that? Especially if it's it's still in development. Yeah. I think we're at a very strange time, and people are just going to profit while they can until this thing falls apart and everybody the walls the walls crumble and everybody realizes, oh my God, there's a whole world out there of tabletop that we had no idea about.
Yep.
So we'll see. But couldn't avoid mentioning that because of the just the constant, and also it's making, I think, a lot of content for that group of 5e YouTubers that have now said, oh, we're not going to talk about 5e, we'll talk about everything else, Daggerheart and all that stuff.
They still do that.
Yeah, I know. They can't stop.
They're waiting for the next scandal thing so they can do their next thumbnail picture where they're like,
yeah, right. Always the Wizard has done it this time.
You won't believe.
Right. That's too bad. It's too bad that same kind of thing that's following around, Disney, Star Wars, and everything else is also, on tabletop. The outrage. We need to be outraged by how could they? How dare they? But and this last story is going to make us say, how could they? How dare they? So continuing our humanity's war against the machines, we have some strange allies that I think are pretty misguided. So Wacom, of the famous Wacom tablets, graphics tablets, and kind of input devices, have found a use for blockchain. So they're going to protect your art. I don't know if it's from AI. It's not really. It's from piracy, I guess, by securing a license and your ownership using the blockchain. So they have created an app called Yuify, so Yuify, that will enable artists to claim their authorship and kind of document that on the blockchain. So it's an authenticator, basically, like an AI, based, basically, authenticator. But it's not going to, if your work is already included in a data set, it's not going to do anything about that. So I wonder what they're thinking. So the service is in beta for Adobe, which is another odd choice to start with Photoshop. So basically it'll be a Photoshop plugin that you can choose to export the work as a PNG or a JPEG, and then you can create that instance on the blockchain to document. So it's going to create a permanent record of ownership for your work, and also allow you to specify how you want to license your work. Yeah, and it's coming for also Clip Paint Studio and Rebel, so two other graphics applications. So that'll be by the end of this month. So they spoke to the CEO of Wacom, Nobutaka Ide, and he was at the VFX festival, just schmoozing around and talking to reporters. And a statement they got from him, or a quote they got from him, is Yuify, I guess is what they're going with. Yuify is not a giant platform guy's protection scheme. So they're not trying to get you to pay money to protect your art, or what they claim it to be is it will enable artists to self-authenticate and self-manage their artwork. It's a first step, they're saying, right? So another quote that he added was, to put simply, the idea is to let artists let's protect artist portfolios. Let's authenticate the tight engagement between an artist and their work. Yes, so we all know about how well the blockchain has treated artists with things like NFTs. And yes, so but it's going to be hard to get away from this, what they're calling this self-sovereign identity technology. So it's ideal for like kind of creating this digital footprint that's documented in time and can't be, disputed. But it's weird timing. And I don't know if they really knew that Adobe was going to kind of change their terms and kind of make artists realize how vulnerable their work is that they've been, unfortunately sharing with Adobe. But the good news about Yuify is you don't need to use a Wacom drawing tablet to use the plugin. So wait a minute. So does that just mean you're looking for new sources of revenue because the new Apple iPad Pro is destroying the Wacom tablet? Like it's so much better for drawing. but you're stuck in the iOS nightmare world of graphics. But yeah, I think Wacom is probably panicking a little bit because they're getting outclassed. So many illustrators that I know are drawing exclusively on iPad. So that's definitely going to hurt, because how can you sell a $2,000 tablet, that plugs into your PC? You need a PC, to even use it. How can they sell those when you buy a $2,000 iPad and you got an iPad plus you've got a tablet, you've got a drawing tablet, yeah. But so there's a sign up if you're really interested, if you're really feeling that gullible at the moment. You can sign up for the beta of Yuify and start documenting every one of your little chicken scratches that you make into Photoshop. So what do you think, Matt? Is the world saved? Do artists rejoice at this moment?
So imagine if the Butlerian Jihad had just been, the robots are bad, let's build robots to fight the robots. Oh, wait a minute, now there's twice as many robots. Right. Like no. I mean, this is more your world as an artist, as a visual artist, than it is mine. But like, it sounds horrible. It sounds like you're just making an NFT, a shitty NFT out of your work,
right? And
it's like you said, it's more about ownership, which isn't going to stop AI from stripping it away and reformatting it for something else. And so I don't get it at all. But.
Yeah, it's a strange move. Yeah, and they're really trying to say, hey, we're here for you guys, but you're still working with Adobe, so I don't know how you're in our corner at all. Yeah, it's a funny thing, and the timing couldn't be worse. So I don't think this may never leave beta. I don't think they're gonna get any sort of support behind this. I don't know. I think it's gonna have to be something that comes from an uninterested party, like a third, like a technology company that has nothing to do with making money off of any of this stuff, that finds out a way, kind of like the people that are like, embedding the pixels to corrupt the training of AIs with your art. The people that are disinterested in making money in this and are just trying to, that have more altruistic, motives for developing tools and things. Yeah, Wacom definitely needs new revenue sources. So a plug-in to create some sort of licensing and ownership is right up their alley.
Related to it, I will say it is kind of heartened me a little that Adobe is getting a ton of flack for what they're doing, and to the point where I think they've put out some press releases sort of trying to walk back some stuff and explain things. But it's all money, so they're not going to really take away anything that makes them money.
Yeah, once and I think they were copying a Japanese software model, but once Adobe, everything became not software licenses, but a service, a subscription service. That was the beginning of problems, because, then they're just making changes to their software, so it looks like you're getting something for your money that you're paying every month. So these updates, these random updates that all of their different applications are getting, are very useless. It's like small iterations or weird tools, weird kind of niche tools. And some of the time it's just like, I just stop updates because I like how things are working now. I don't need any, AI smoothing features or anything. So I don't want to, either have them change things, like now the hotkeys are different or whatever between these like versions. They do like really random changes that don't seem, it doesn't seem like they're kind of testing it well and having people say, yeah, this is good, let's move forward with this. It's just like, we got to make changes. We're charging people $50 a month to use the software. We better make some changes.
And they do that thing, like you've mentioned this with Windows. It's the same thing with Adobe. Like, I'll go on and there's been an update and like suddenly they've reset something.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And it's so infuriating. Like, you had to help me with one of those with my text.
Right.
spacing thing, which just magically became like something ridiculous, like 32
Right,
whatever.
right.
I was like, what the hell is going on? And so
Yeah, definitely in the middle of projects. Yeah, don't update your Adobe software because they'll do something that may even like corrupt your files so that they're not very usable between versions, between saves. Yeah, it's weird. They just are not very well guided. Yeah, it's just they just need to make changes because they're a subscription. They're not a software version anymore. Very odd, but we'll see how this all shakes out. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for being with me today. So where can people find you online?
Well, I'm on Threads and Instagram. It's at Hargald, Hargald. And like I said earlier, I've done a little bit of sarcastic commenting on DC20 and its ilk. But I do talk about other game stuff, including Outgun Adventures right now, just because that's been on my mind a lot.
Nice.
And check out our actual play. Once the internet cooperated with us, I think it was pretty fun. I'm looking forward to trying that again.
Yeah, great. Yeah, me too. Yeah, so I'm on a monthly schedule now for my cartoon. So a big, juicy live stream with lots of cartooning. So that happens once a month. So July is coming up. So if you subscribe to Abuse Cartoons on YouTube or Twitch, you'll get a notification when that goes live. You can always find that archived on those platforms, and social media. There'll be notices when I go live as well. So that's Abuse Cartoons. If you want to read the cartoon, it's a single panel gag cartoon about inanimate objects. So that's gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And all that stuff is in the description, as well as Matt's drive-through store, Chris's itch account. So everything accessible to what we're doing with gaming. Oh, and another thing I'd like to mention, if you'd like to try, we got contacted because we mentioned Foundry. We were talking about Foundry and Anna Bradford last week. Foundry got in touch, and so we're on their affiliate program now. So if you want to support the site, support Foundry. So give Foundry a try. So it's Unity based. So actually you can buy it through Steam. It's available on Steam. There's a 20% discount on all Pathfinder content right now for this next week. And they changed their model, I think, from their original subscription model to an ultimate license. So you can buy a regular license, but that means everyone has to have a regular license to play. If you buy the ultimate license, only one person needs to own that license, and then everybody can log in without sharing that same license. So it's kind of the GM license. So basic license is $20. The ultimate upgrade is $30. So for $50, similar to Foundry, you can get on Fantasy Grounds and give that a shot. And use our link in the description if you want to give that a shot and see kind of where they're at, because they're talking about big changes now. So you might want to get a before picture so you can see the after picture and rejoice. And I was really surprised the number of systems that they supported. I wasn't quite sure because you see Pathfinder and 5e. That's the big thing everybody needs to support. But Fantasy Grounds does a lot. Let me see if I can bring that up in a timely manner. Maybe not. But there's a lot of, I think Free League has done some stuff with them. There's also some there is quite a few things to try. But like I said, Pathfinder 2nd Edition content is all on sale. Oh, there we go. So Cyberpunk Red, Dungeon Crawl Classics, Old School Essentials, Castles and Crusades, Rollmaster, Symbaroum, 13th Age is on there, Traveler 2nd Edition, Star Trek Adventures, Starfinder, of course, Dune, Fallout, 1st Edition, Traveler, Alien, Mutants and Masterminds, then all the World of Darkness, let's see, Shadows of the Demon Lord, and Savage Worlds, which includes Deadlands. And Vaesen, too. So some of the stuff we've played is actually on there as well. Wow. So, so yet another place to look for your VTT needs. So I'm curious, like connectivity-wise and everything, what the difference is between Foundry and Fantasy Grounds, because this is Unity based and it's, web based. I wonder if that changes anything. But yeah, give it a try if you're interested. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We'll do this again next week. And oh, if you like what we're doing, consider becoming a weekling. So patreon.com/upturntable can get you the tier for supporting the weekly, and you can let us know what you want to see more of. Give us some tips about news stories that would be worth discussing. If you don't want to see any more DC20, you can make that request as well. But then there's access to content that we don't put that's not available just for free, and that includes also becoming a YouTube member. So if you click the join button between the video, if you're watching us, you can become a member and get access to the same content. We are picking up our actual play for Dune tomorrow around this time. So Matt and I will be there, and you will see what happens to House Abacoster. So yeah, that is all for this week. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Goodbye. Okay, be right back. All right. Well, good to see everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging in there. Yeah, sorry about the the door and everything. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye out for the stray cat. Sorry.
Poor kitty.
I know, that's so sad. Yeah. Yeah, but cats are so territorial. Like, I think it's easy if a cat gets out of the house and then gets chased away. But by, they walk into another, like a wild cat or like a big tomcat's territory, they can easily get chased off, and then they're going to have a heck of a time making it back. They don't have that crazy dog radar where they wait at the train station for you. All right. Yeah, so looking forward to some Dune. So I think we'll kind of have a brainstorm. I'll like show you like ideas I have about the timeline, and we can talk about like how far forward we want to go, and what state we want the house to be in. That should be fun for continuing Dune. Yeah, good stuff.
I'm definitely looking forward to a little time jump. I hope everybody's on board for that.
Yeah. And we can even, if there's like stuff that people want to wrap up, or if we want to like, do a session that determines what the state of some things will be immediately, we could do that and then a jump. So we'll see. We've got a lot of options. And I think it's so nice. I think that system is flexible enough that, they really do a nice job with some house management rules as far as like, what it means to be a house of a certain level, what kind of assets you'd have to have, and what that changes in your status. Like, you're going to have more enemies then, you're going to have people, we'll have to develop another, and maybe hopefully not get Canley. Hopefully you'll just get somebody competing with you commercially, not trying to end your house. You've got enough of those. But it should be fun. Nice.
One of us on the screen is hungover. Let's see if you can guess who.
Oh no! It may be the guy on the TV. It's hard to tell.
More water.
Yeah, more water. Yeah. So you said you did a pub quiz night where there was too much waiting and too much drinking.
Yeah. I got there before everyone, so I had a drink. Then everyone showed up. I had a drink, and then we started talking about drinks. And Terry, who plays with us, had never had a White Russian.
Oh,
so I had another drink.
Yeah,
and then
once milk is involved, it's all downhill from there.
We came in 4th place out of 9 teams, which I think considering our state wasn't too bad.
Nice. Yeah, you were a little loose. Your recall was maybe a little deeper.
Oh, yeah. And that was the worst part. It's all done in rounds, right? And whichever team scored the best in a round got drink tickets. And we won a round, so that was another.
I see. I think they were actually working against you there. That sounds a little aggressive. Nice. All right, let's take a look at the chat, see what I missed. So you guys delved into the dark world of the Acolyte while I was gone?
A little bit. I was talking about, I was trying to be positive. And on the positive side, they did real speed fight choreography, unlike Ahsoka.
Yeah, right.
And then there was some stuff on the negative side.
Yeah, I mean the first 2 episodes, like, it looked like Star Wars. Not doesn't look like the amount of money that they spent on every episode, which is surprising. But also the I think it's odd. I'm very suspicious of that writer-director, like I said when I came back. I'm very suspicious of her and why she was just handed this. I mean, at least Rian Johnson was, or Rian Johnson. What's his name? Ryan. Yeah, was a director. She did a documentary or some little quirky short film or something. it's like, okay, yeah, she was associated with maybe some of the Weinstein magic rubbed off on her, but I don't think, that makes her probably a better producer than a director. But
Oh, what?
yes, yeah, so she was a personal assistant to Harvey. So yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
So, oh, sorry. So that's maybe I was a little too cryptic. Yeah. So personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, and she's a lesbian woman. So I'm not gonna make any connections. But she could have been a good wingman. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god.
But yeah. Anyhow, she'd make references to these are things that she did playing Star Wars tabletop. Like some of these characters and some of these ideas came from her Star Wars tabletop experience, which I'm assuming
really?
is the Fantasy Flight version. But I don't think any of the ideas were good. I mean, maybe they were fun, in her session and maybe in her group, that was really fun world building for them. But I don't think to the mass Star Wars audience, this is a very good story.
So there's a couple of funny things. Like, have you watched all the first 3 episodes?
Yeah, I'm up.
Okay. So the Jedi who is meditating and he has the force bubble around him, has a scarred eye or whatever. In the first 2 episodes, every time they showed him, I was like, he just looks like, I don't know, like a early 20s guy that they tried to make a little bit older looking. Like he just looked like a little kid almost with a beard.
Right.
And then you go to episode 3 and you're like, it's flashback to him being young. And it's like, oh, so they just took that actor and put a beard on him and scarred him, but he still just looks like a kid. Right. So it's like, that ruined my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, that was
a lot.
That was really odd.
And
couldn't pay another actor. Yeah.
I really dislike this. I know they're going for a feel, but I really dislike how all the Jedi are kind of very monotone, almost Vulcan-like in their, because they don't want to, be emotional or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like old Jedi portrayals weren't really like that as much. And does every one of them have to be literally the only one who had any character was the fat guy Jedi that they only showed for a one scene.
Right.
He was the only one expressing himself, and it's I'm not really happy with the direction on this at all.
Yeah, and I don't like the fact that Jedis are cops now. That they're really running them like police. So instead of inquisitors or some sort of paladins or something, having some kind of different role, they're just cops. And with the unpopularity of police in certain, it's just then it becomes let's kill the police. They're trying to everybody is on the side of people that want to hunt and kill Jedi. So that's going to make Order 66 so satisfying. I mean, it's weird. It's what they want to build up to the prequel trilogies actually being oh, thank God they just wiped them out. Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird. And it's kind of limits, I think, the storytelling. If you're going to make them kind of police, it really limits the storytelling potential.
So you've made me think of something now. When they finally reveal who this Sith Master guy is, it should be Ice-T. Should be a total cop killer riff. And they should just go with it.
They should. Yeah, I don't know. And this yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, supposedly they're doing a Rashomon thing. They're gonna go back and retell this thing from different points of view. Right. Which is gonna make them not only cops but brown shirts. They're gonna be fascist, foot soldiers. It's gonna really make the Jedi look very questionable. And so if this is High Republic era, this is that wonderful time that old Ben was talking about, and it sucks. And I think it's just because just the funny thing about Star Wars in general is it was a relief, the mindlessness of its good and evil, kind of serial, popcorn, sci-fi serialness of it
the black and white easy good and evil was a relief from the anti-heroes in the complicated 70s. And now they're trying to recomplicate Star Wars into something even beyond, what the 70s could even come up with as far as how dark and mixed everyone's motives are.
And the problem for me is they have the solution. The solution is either you don't use Jedi at all, or you have a Jedi and he's special. He or she is special. Like, because look at Andor, right? There's no Jedi nonsense, and it's like one of the best things they've done, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it gets much more human. You don't have these like weird, like monotone, asexual, murderers walking about. Yeah,
because even George Lucas has kind of made it where a Jedi who becomes like an individual always goes bad. You know what I mean? So Jedi are kind of inherently no fun if you think about it too much.
Yeah. And I think that was a problem. I think that was a weird, and I think that's just comes from George Lucas's peculiarities of personality that was put into the prequel, how he wanted to show, kind of depict the Jedi Council and everything in the prequel trilogy. I think that really made things odd, and they just ran with it. Yeah. So. Yeah, not great. But I think they should be experimenting with what kind of stories you can tell and see if something, does catch on. So I don't know. Because, you can just imagine, like, think about if you could, quickly read or get a summary of everybody's, Star Wars if they've done a tabletop Star Wars campaign, what everybody did in that world, like what people did with those characters, what kind of characters they wanted to have, and what they did in that world. I bet there'd be a huge range of types of games that people wanted to play. Probably some things got really dark, and some things stayed very, very light and heroic. And so I think there's a.
I think they should really give some time to an Outer Rim underworld kind of thing. Kind of like they hinted at with Solo.
Yeah, right.
And a little in Andor, I guess. But like when I've played Star Wars, it always ended up being smugglers and rogues, and like the not so nice people.
You and your scum and villainy. Yeah. No, but I think that is nice. And I think like you're saying, having Jedis be rare. And I think that's a thing that that I like with certain, or like 40K fiction. When everybody's a space marine, it's a little less human, because you're kind of dealing with demigods. So when you're dealing with that on the human level, and the rare space marine is this demigod, that's much more interesting, and they're much more threatening. They're much more terrifying than when everyone is 12 feet tall and augmented. But I don't know what they're because they're kind of, now, if they're going to stick with this High Republic earlier time where there are so many Jedi, it's going to be hard to get away from it. They're just going to be standing on every street corner, swinging their lightsabers like Billy Clubs, walking the beat. I don't know.
Taking apples from the local fruit vendor.
Right. It's coming, I'm sure. They really like the cop thing. Yeah. I guess they're doing it though for the mystery. Like, if they're doing it, if there's an authority and you've got like a mystery, then you've got police basically. Yeah. But I hope this doesn't stick.
Yeah. They need to. There's this guy. What's that YouTube channel? Oh, Screen Crush. You ever watch that guy?
I think so.
So he breaks down all the Star Wars stuff episode by episode, and he's kind of an apologist for some of their stuff, which annoys me sometimes, but he's always advocating that they need to just get away from all the previous material and get away from the Skywalkers completely. And I'm totally on board for that too. Like, just go out and do something totally different.
Yeah, I kind of see what sticks. I think they've got some. I mean, they've already fucked it up, so they've got time and money to, kind of rebuild an audience and see if they can attract. If they can get some of the mass appeal back. But then again, I think that will make it hard for people to know. So, what is Star Wars? I think that's already happened with both Marvel and Star Wars under Disney. Is people are like, so what is Marvel now? I had some expectations of what it was, and now I have no idea. What are you doing? What's happening?
So, yeah, I think if you stick with some of the core aesthetics, like the lived-in universe, the used universe, whatever you call it, and space battles, and kind of almost pulpy adventure heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you make new stories that don't have to somehow fit in the canon of previous stuff, I think it could be very successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there's little things that maybe excited people in either comics or novels or some of the other Star Wars media. It's like, what about this little part of it? And if you kind of take that and run, I think there's like so little pieces of inspiration. Yeah, because you've seen in comics how they've done a whole series of just the bounty hunters. And they've done they kind of like go off. That could be fun.
Like the Dr. Aphra stuff, like
Oh,
they
yeah.
would never have the balls to do a Dr. Aphra series, but man, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wonder what we're in for. But yeah, this is they're just yeah. I'm curious if things like this, any tracking on social media, any Google, hitting the top of Google searches and things, if they consider all of that good, so it doesn't matter if it's for good reasons or bad reasons, they're just going to put stuff out there. And if this is going to piss people off, good, because they're going to, they're going to hear about it and everyone's going to be, but the thing is though, it's kind of like when people are scalping stuff, you're kind of letting people scalp your content by just like, hating on it. You're giving them, they're making money by hating what you're doing. So you're feeding is kind of like feeding trolls or whatever. You're not making any of that money that they are from just hating on your stuff. You're getting attention, but you're not profiting from it. Just like, when things sell for ridiculous amounts and kind of, aftermarket resale, the original company doesn't see any of that money.
Yeah.
So it feels a little bit like that. It's like, is that really the way to go? Yeah. Hey, good to see everybody in the chat.
So Orcus got me scared because he said that Nave has been having a problem with poor packaging on the books.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I'm nervous now.
Yeah, and U.S. mail being what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm so overjoyed when I get something in pristine condition because, so much stuff comes with just totally rounded corners. The books have been slammed around so much. When somebody just puts a book in a padded envelope, you're in for trouble, or a thin enough cardboard box, that it crushes.
Yeah, I'm curious who's going to do the distribution on the Outgunned Adventures. Because that's going to end up being a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't complain about it on the unboxings, but I've been getting killed with taxes, with import tax. I guess Japan is like cracking down on that. Yeah, I paid like $70. The last two things, one was 30, one was 40. Additional dollars like that from up above shipping and everything just on the getting them into Japan. So I think once it hits, so that's the problem with these pledges that are like over $100, then on the invoice the value is over $100, so that may trigger Japan taxing it more depending on the categories.
Probably if they don't classify it as books too, you're getting screwed, I bet.
Yeah,
if they're classified in some other commodity, you're probably getting taxed more.
Yeah, so that's been frustrating because you got those with crowdfunding. You always have those hidden costs. Okay, we'll charge you shipping later. Oh, good. Okay, that's nice. So I know how much I'm putting in to get this pledge, and then you get it with a crazy shipping amount, and then when it finally, and so you wouldn't have, if you would have known, exactly that shipping amount, you may not have backed it, and then when you get hit with that additional, it's like, this is just punishing, kicking me when I'm down.
I was thinking about that because I did the standard hard copy bundle. I didn't do the crazy big one. But it's still a fair amount of stuff. And what they've been doing with a lot of their unlocks is making printed versions of stretch goal rewards.
Yes.
So I was thinking about that. I was like, my shipping's going to be going up.
Right. Yeah, it's just going to get heavier and heavier. Yeah, because they're not going to eat the shipping. So yeah, it's just going to get. Yeah. So we'll see. But just to let you know, so both the original Outgunned and their Household RPG arrived in perfect condition, because that Household was a huge, multi-volume slipcover box set and all kinds of accessories and stuff. It arrived in wonderful condition, yeah. And the production values, you're going to be really impressed, I think, by the Two Little Mice's production values. Really, really nice stuff. Like everything is just perfect, yeah.
That's great.
I like that a lot. Yeah, and even Chris commented on that, and Chris is hard to impress because she collects a lot of like the boutique, like the people that print their zines on this artisan paper with gold foil, the really, really high end. Like I personally chose all these materials and supervised the production, or maybe even they sewed the folios and stuff themselves. So yeah, pretty high level of standard, and I was impressed with the Two Little Mice books.
The artist, she was on one of their live streams, the one that does their main like cover art and stuff. That poor lady, like when they make a new roll, they give her like 2 days to make a full illustration for it. Right. And her stuff's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's really solid illustration, and like she's getting like 2 days to turn those around. Like,
that's crazy. Yeah, I would say, I mean, this is insanely sexist, but she's one of those female illustrators that you don't immediately say, "Oh, that's a woman." Her illustration has some style and solidity, and it's not. It has some substance that you don't immediately associate with. A lot of illustration. Yeah, so I like her stuff. I think it works really well with the genres and stuff they've been doing. Yeah, I think it's solid, and I don't immediately say, "Oh, okay, I know who's doing your illustration." Some companies, that's pretty obvious.
Oh yeah, no, she does a good job. It's very like it's pulpy but not retro feel. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty good.
Yeah, and there's a nice broad kind of racial representation, and without uglying everybody up, like having to make this like weird, this weird middle kind of, they're pretty people, and because you're doing action films, these actors would be pretty people. So I like the fact that she's doing that
central casting kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Instead of kind of uglying people up just to make it more. Oh, that's me. Yeah, it's funny. Oh yeah, lightsabers as flashlights. Yeah, who said that? Yeah, Miguel. Yeah, that's right.
What?
That line in the Acolyte, a Jedi only draws their lightsaber or ignites their lightsaber when they're willing to kill, and then the guy walks into the cave holding his lightsaber like a torch, like a glow stick. Well, he's killing the darkness. He's ready to kill the darkness is how I thought of it.
Yeah, and that's so not like they basically took a myth about like samurai and bolted it onto the Jedi, and it's like that doesn't even make sense for how the Jedi behave. Like, it's
I really
about practice.
I really think the art direction and stuff of Star Wars now has so much baggage. It's got to be really rough to do costuming and stuff, because why the hell are Jedi wearing Tatooine farmers' robes, like farmers' clothing. Like when did this like Jedi robe become a thing? It's like they're all dressed like poor farmers. I guess that, this High Republic, they're a little bit, cleaner and whiter and brighter. But like this like weird thing where they wanted to dress people like rural Edo period Japanese, on Tatooine, and then it just become the costume of everything. So unless you're dressed in like this weird like cowboy style uniform or like Nazi, like like watered down Nazi uniform, you're wearing Japanese farmer clothes, and that includes the Jedi. So yeah, it's that's really weird. They got themselves in a weird hole with that.
Yeah, it's like Ben Kenobi went to Tatooine and started a fashion trend for the whole universe.
Right. A dirty brown robe on every Force user.
And like kind of a gi underneath.
Yes. Yeah. And that's this kind of shameless, like, the Japanese are not sensitive to cultural appropriation. Maybe Japanese Americans are, but Japanese like to see things that have a Japanese aesthetic. And they've, don't mind any of the like the craftsman movement and everything that took Japanese geometry and simplicity and incorporated it in their aesthetic. But to see, like the breastplate, kind of the samurai breastplate that she's wearing, it's all so obviously like Japanese costume cues. It's very, very, very specifically Japanese.
Well, and I think it's a lot of these people making the Star Wars stuff now they think they're doing the right thing by looking back at what inspired George Lucas.
Yeah.
And what you hear all the time is how, old, Rashomon, Seven Samurai, all that kind of stuff were touchstones for him. So they're just constantly trying to replicate that in a way. And I think that's the problem with Star Wars is like, it's almost like AI art. We're just grabbing things and trying to reuse them in a different form.
Right.
Where they need to just cut the cord and, keep the spirit, but move on aesthetically.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. And I think they had an opportunity doing this like earlier age, going back hundreds of years. They maybe had an opportunity to do that and they just didn't. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. Orca says, household sounds like fun. Yeah, it's a really neat aesthetic. I got a lot of shit on YouTube in the comments for saying I might have trouble getting this to the table because it's a little cute. It's a little cozy, in some of the feeling of it, because it's like the borrowers, the little people living in a house. But it's like a weird context. It's like a fun, playful context for a fantasy world, so each room in the house is a kingdom, and these people, that's all they know, so they're living like fantasy kingdoms. And but you still have the fun aesthetic of the map that they give you in the package is like written on the back of a candy wrapper, so you turn over the map and it's like a candy logo on the back, so they try to get across some of that scale aesthetic and everything, even in the accessories for the game.
That's cool.
Yeah, but then cats and rats and bees are a whole thing, a force to be reckoned with. Changing that scale is fun. Oh, here we go. We got Gargamond talking some Star Wars.
Oh yeah, Western aesthetic.
Yeah.
So depending on who you talk to, a lot of Western aesthetic either borrows from Japanese or the other way around.
Right.
So there's a lot of cross saturation there.
That's right. Yeah. Well, they said like the aesthetic for like the rebels that are defending the blockade runner, like those plain vests and kind of stuff that they were wearing were just like cues taken from Western costuming from Western serials and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it is funny how it's kind of back and forth, kind of borrowing back, because Japan, that's what they really like to do, that to take something and like fix it or do a twist on it or whatever. There's so many characters in Japanese pop culture that are appropriated, but they've become their own thing, like Fist of the North Star. So Ken, Ken character is basically wearing Mel Gibson's outfit from Mad Max 2. Like that's how it's totally how he's dressed, and it's exactly the character he is. It's like, okay, well, it's not that character though, but so he's his own unique character, but his look is exactly Mel Gibson. Yeah.
And it's hard to, you look at like the romanticized gunslinger with the mysterious past and haunted past that comes into town, right, and deals with something. That same thing with Ronin, it happens in both, like parallel.
Right. Yeah, the wandering man with no name. Yeah, that's true. And
Cat Bane is very Western Gargamon side. Yeah, he is based on Lee Van Cleef from the Spaghetti Western.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you could even the hat, right? The choice of hat and stuff. Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef. Yeah.
Yeah, and Han Solo's wearing the very low slung gunslinger holster. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of Western stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think that was, because that was also the thing people complained about, but also enjoyed, like with Tarantino movies, is the mashup, to play like, 70s funk in a, Japanese sword duel or whatever, to like mash genres and stuff and kind of give you an original feel of just, kind of reclaimed pop culture. Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, yeah, George Lucas was already doing that. Yeah, that's very funny. Yeah, it's so funny to think of, though, in a world where they let George Lucas have final cut on Star Wars, on the original Star Wars movie, and nobody liked it. It was just hated. Like, they left all that wonky Mark Hamill over the top performance in there with his buddies at right, all that stuff, and the extended conversations with Biggs, where it's just like a bad soap opera or whatever. And if they wouldn't have gotten in the hands of his wife and the other editor that just like made it exciting and fun, all of the stuff that he did would have been wasted, because some of those performances were just terrible, and the pace of it would have been unbearable. It would have just been another 70s sci-fi, but just a little more fantasy.
Yeah, it's good that he cut. I almost feel like he knew that lesson and then he forgot that lesson later on.
Right. Well, I think he's done so much stuff out of spite. I think George Lucas is a very spite motivated person, because the prequel trilogies, his special edition shows you that, like, all the stuff he fixed in the special edition was just stuff that obviously during production people told him no. The studio told him, no, we don't have the money. A visual effects guy said, no, we can't do that. And he's like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna get this done someday. So the thing that makes me laugh is he wanted the original Death Star to be metallic, like reflective metallic. And the ILM guys, the proto ILM guys, are like, we can't do that. There's no way to film that. The reflections are going to be so out of control. There's no way we can do that. So what does he do? The first ship that you see in episode 1, or not the first ship, but that super reflective Flash Gordon looking, like, Blackbird, the SR-70 Blackbird, is like the most reflective thing you've ever seen in your life. He's like, ha, I got it.
It's a mirror.
Yeah, and he probably just lost that ability to edit because he just wanted to spite his wife. I'm gonna do it the opposite way Marcia would have done it. Screw her. Yeah, but some of those things are so funny. Like, I think he's done too many commentaries and talked too much about Star Wars for too long, because things keep coming back where you're like, oh, that's why you did that. You are a very spiteful man. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, we got it. That's now that you're talking about that, the kind of Outer Rim, smugglers and pirates kind of stuff. We got to play something like that. I've got Scum and Villainy, the Blades in the Dark, the what is it, Forged in the Dark rule system. Have you played that before?
No.
Yeah, that might be fun.
But there's also the one that's gonna be coming out for
yes,
Outgunned.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. We might be stuck with Outgunned for a while, because it's going to hit a lot of the genres we want to play. Yeah. I think Road Warrior and some good stuff, and some John Wick.
Road Warrior could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, Will love you forever if you do a John Wick style game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's his jam.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be really fun. Do some nice world building. Some mention of the chrome ships. Yeah, right, yeah. Added the shiny ships. Oh, that was another odd piece of Star Wars. I was listening to some people doing some random commentaries for Star Wars, the prequels, and they were saying that there's a connection between between that Amidala's ship and Phasma, the Phasma character, that her armor is built from the plating on that ship, supposedly. I don't know if that's a comic book thing or in canon or whatever, because that Naboo, whatever that it was was left behind or crashed somewhere or whatever, and was reclaimed by the First Order. So they built her armor out of that ship. So there's weird connective tissue.
That's like
nice.
Star Wars is to the point where there's like Easter eggs inside of Easter eggs. That,
right.
When you get to that level, like, do you really care anymore? Like, I'm not sure I care anymore.
Miguel called it. That's nonsense. Exactly.
Oh, Gargamon asked if we've seen the new Dune game. Are you talking about the role-playing game? Because we play that on this channel.
Yeah. Oh, maybe the MMO. They're doing
the survival.
Yeah. And that's a world where Paul was never born. I guess they're doing like an alternate timeline. So there's no Paul Atreides. Yeah. Oh yeah. We play. Check out the archive on both YouTube and Twitch. Have our 2D20s. It's the Modifius 2D20 systems for Dune. Yeah, but that's weird. I'm just curious to watch some of the story stuff for that PC game, that MMO, because I want to see how they're going to world build, without Paul, and what decisions they're going to make. Maybe they're just going to, kind of keep the houses a little, I don't know, less intermixed. I don't know.
Yeah, probably just so they don't have to do any big swings, right? It's just a constant state of tension.
Right. Nice. Yeah, because you don't need hundreds of comics and manuals and art books to understand the movie. Yeah, that's the thing. It's some people are really difficult to talk about Star Wars with because they have too much. They're too immersed in some of that ancillary stuff. So when you're talking about stuff that just happened in movies, they have all these reasons and this backstory for it. You're like, okay, but I didn't know that. So how was I supposed to, understand any of that? That had no significance. But
that's what Ahsoka burned a lot of people with. There was a lot of people who are into the newer Star Wars stuff who didn't watch the cartoons.
Right.
And so that, because that was kind of just the next season of Rebels in a way, like there's a lot of stuff where like, huh, what?
Yeah.
Why do I care? And then on top of that, Dave Filoni, no offense, cannot direct human beings. Like,
right.
Great with animation, but missed so many like human response cues in that show. Like Ahsoka was super wooden. What's his name? The kid, when they found him in the other galaxy finally, Ezra.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally in another galaxy, haven't seen each other forever, and they're just like, "Oh, how you doing?" And it's like, no, that's not how human beings act.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. It didn't feel good at all. Yeah, and I don't know. That's that whole tone. It seems like a lot of that. Like Kenobi had a little bit of that. Like everything's got a little bit of that. Like you're not acting like a person. Like I'm not feeling. It's really limited empathy with a lot of these characters, just because they're just acting funny. Like you're saying, like their human responses and stuff are just not natural. So it's like, is that a style, or what is that an effect? What are they doing?
Yeah, and I think that's part of why, Andor succeeded was, well, one, they cast really well, but the characters were under a lot of pressure, and you could sense it, right? In the portrayals. You don't always get that in the other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, self-parody. Yeah, it is weird because when you do go from depicting characters that have never been seen on film, only in 3D animation as kind of chunky, like wood block carved looking strange characters, strange cartoon characters. Yeah, to put humans in those roles, and it does come across as like weird. There's a weird cosplay element because there's stuff that they didn't quite do right, and then the actors having no idea. I mean, I think even if you told all of the actors in Ahsoka to watch the animation, I don't think that's going to help. I don't think that's going to really inform their acting very much because it's, a lot of it's very kiddie, very kiddie cartoon show. So it's like, I don't know, very strange situation. But
Rebels grew on me. It started out super kiddie and it got better,
mm-hmm,
and to the point where by the end I was like, okay, yeah, it was pretty fun, but the transition to humans, like you said, it just didn't really work.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hard. And I think a lot of people, it's strange that I don't know if it's the makeup people or they just, they cast, the casting people don't do makeup tests or something. But there's a lot of people that look terrible when their skin is all blue or green or whatever. Like they don't have, like the director. So the director's wife was one of the Jedi Masters in The Acolyte. And from the front, she kind of looks okay, kind of featureless, but then they got a couple of profiles of her and she's almost chinless. So she looks she looks terrible. Like they didn't cast someone she just doesn't have the aesthetics. Maybe she is an actress by trade, but she's not. They shouldn't have cast her. And you got to do makeup tests with these actors to make sure that once you take all their features away and change their coloring, that they don't look completely weird, that it doesn't look very amateur. But there were a couple of angles of that character, the bald green girl, that were just like, what is going on? Is that a stand-in? Like, did you just get one of the, the sound people to put the makeup on? There was some real odd kind of, reverse shot stuff.
Yeah. And they're getting into that Star Trek territory. And again, I love most Star Trek, but it can be critiqued, and one of the things I don't like about it is most of the aliens are just people with makeup and things stuck to their head.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Star Wars is starting to get there. That's like the all green lady. Well, what is she? Is she green?
Yeah, she's a green.
Yeah, and the witch lady who was like the partner to the head witch. What are they called? Like Darth Maul's race, like Jabrak or something.
Oh,
like that.
Yeah.
She looked pretty good. The makeup job on her was good, but then you see like the lady who's just green. It's just like,
right.
I feel like you're phoning it in on this one.
Yeah. It's got to be funny, though, because anything that you invent for just those shows, becomes canon. It's like, oh, okay, I just made purple people. So what are they? Who are they called? And what's their culture? What's their backstory? What's the main export of their home planet? Yeah, it's like, oh, shit. Yeah. I really stepped in it now. The fans must know.
Man, we killed. This is what Star Wars does on the internet. We just killed a ton of time talking about Star Wars.
Oh, geez, yeah. And we're not even playing Star Wars. We're playing Dune. So
I just had to. We talked so much about Star Wars. I had to unlock a comment from Orcus and a comment from Miguel.
Nice. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The prison transport. That was, so much of that was weak. It did feel a bit like a tabletop, just a improvised, thrown together tabletop session. A lot of the storytelling in The Acolyte. It doesn't seem like that was well thought out, or they just didn't hire very good writers, like people that can do.
So the robot transport thing, they seem to be very keen, both in the High Republic and whatever you call the new Republic,
Yeah,
the reformed Republic. they'd be really keen on like kind of making them incompetent in the way they rely on droids to do things. Like oh, the prison ship's completely manned by droids. They did that in either Mandalorian or Boba Fett, I forget which, but they did it on there too. And it's like they're trying to make this statement about how the Republicans kind of phoning it in, you know, and they kind of deserve when bad guys show up and mess everything up. It seems to be what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And Obi-Wan too. They did that with Obi-Wan too. Like it was like, oh, they're just a bunch of bureaucrats who aren't paying attention to anything that's going on.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird the way that they're doing that, because that made when they were doing. When did that show up? When was that there was that little side story of the scientist, the geneticist from Mandalorian, and his little home story, like being a reformed Imperial scientist and stuff. That was in Boba Fett.
Living with his mom.
Yeah, yeah. That was weird because they were showing both the Republic and the Empire were incredibly incompetent and corrupt and it's like nobody to cheer for here.
That's what I'm worried is like when they finally get around to this like Thrawn arc and like the Thrawn movie that allegedly they're gonna do, and like are they gonna put on their big boy pants and really make Thrawn super deadly and like actually have a real cost to everything that happens, or are they just gonna softball it like they do so many things and like, oh, that was a fun little movie, but in the universe it hasn't really changed anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. Well, they need to get writers that can write that kind of stuff, that are smart enough to write that kind of stuff. So the criticism is that they keep hiring people that aren't smart enough to write smart characters. So the result is these dopey, simple plans and curses. I can't believe I made that mistake again.
Foiled again. Yeah. It does kind of feel like we've gotten to like some kind of cutesy, like family friendly. Oh, that's our empire,
Right.
Kind of, like bunch of knuckleheads, give them noogies,
Right.
No.
Yeah. The clothing shop in Japan, the clothing chain in Japan just released. They do summer T-shirts. They do like graphic T-shirts for the summer, and so it's always a different like anime or whatever. So they did some Star Wars poster stuff, which I'm surprised. So it's the episode 1, and then it's the original trilogy shirts from the original trilogy. But it's the poster art from the original trilogy. They're putting them on the back, which is kind of strange, but it's so cool to see that. It's so funny to know that Japan loves Star Wars and they just love the goods of Star Wars. I don't think they're particularly huge fans of the movies. I think a lot of the pop culture is inspired, was inspired by it, but I don't think a lot of people go out to see this stuff, but it's still popular. But the one shirt that they did for the Empire Strikes Back is, I think, a newspaper promo where the verbiage is really funny. It's like an old 50s, it's coming before you know it, the sequel to Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. So it had that really funny tone to it that I don't know where they get those graphics. Like there must be somebody like digging through like newspaper archives or something, some Japanese designers that love that kind of stuff. So they have the old newspaper ad for there is another Star Wars movie coming. Can you believe it? Because that was quite a feat that they were actually able to follow up that first movie.
Yeah.
But yes, it's funny. It's funny to see retro Star Wars merch in in Japan, of all places.
Well, some of that real stylized. There's a lot of real stylized kind of anime depictions of the classic Star Wars characters. It's really cool,
Oh yeah.
Like there've been a couple times where I've almost bought a Japanese movie poster that looks very anime.
Yeah, it's funny that the novelizations and stuff they have Japanese illustrators do covers and things. So yeah, you'll get like a reinterpretation of a lot of characters. Yeah, and very heroic. Nice. Ah,
Like,
yeah,
whoever did
Midori season 3.
that anime, that TIE Fighter anime that's on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Like, man, I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they kind of dipped into that a little bit. Wasn't there like it was just like some animated shorts that were Star Wars themed, but you had a very different genres, very different styles for a bunch of different artists. Yeah, but they didn't continue that. Or I guess they've done some of the short stuff, but it's not great storytelling. Nice. Oh yeah.
Did you watch that? What's his name? Tartovsky, the Samurai Jack guy.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch that new cartoon of his? Was it about a caveman?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's on Max. Yeah, the what's it called? It's just got like a one word title, like Prey or something like that.
Savage.
Yeah, right, yeah. But it's like one of those. It's only visual storytelling. There's no dialogue. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's really, really good. And it's amazing. It's you really realize you can sustain. There's many episodes of that, and can sustain a story with so little. It's all visual. It's all visual storytelling, and it keeps you engaged. And it's just like it really. It's amazing how people don't use a lot of those tools, because he always uses like the things that are dangerous look dangerous, and immediately like the visuals are do so much of the heavy lifting, and that you realize they don't do that much anymore. And I don't know if it's because of like they want to be careful about how they're depicting types of characters or just inclusion. They don't. I don't know, but you can't do that simplified. Some of the simple signals that we know visually. This means this. This means this. The visual storytelling is really lacking in a lot of these. Recent shows. There's not much frame composition or anything, but that's maybe because they have to shoot them very workmanlike. They have huge budgets, but they probably have terrible production schedules, so there's not much art in it.
Yeah, and animation seems to be the best format for that. The worst is theater. Theater is all about the dialogue, and then movies can go either way, but you really need to have a good director.
Yeah, right, right.
And then animation, I think, can really do it. Just rely on visuals much more. Yeah, I got to check that out.
Oh, Primal. Yeah, it's called Primal. That's
Primal.
It. Yeah. It's really good. It's almost like a Neanderthal Conan, like the way that the character, the caveman character is drawn. He feels very Conan esque, and he's very savage and fights amazingly. So it has that feeling like he could do a really killer Conan, like. Maybe even wordless. You could tell Conan stories without words. That would be insane.
Yeah,
because that visual storytelling is
probably
strong.
do it though.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, do you think anybody will ever do a good Conan?
I don't know. I wonder what the rights are, because after Amazon canceled the series, did they still hold on to the rights? So I don't know.
Oh, I hope. If they have them, I hope they're willing to sell them.
Yeah,
I feel like in the environment we're in with so many different streamers, there's an opportunity to do it and do it well. I think Conan would be a great 8 or 10 episode series where every episode is its own adventure. Kind of like his short stories. But not pull any punches. Like it needs to be violent. He needs to be Conan.
Yeah. I think this is probably the last chance before the streaming thing starts to collapse, and they're not going to spend the budgets. They don't have the investors, so they're not going to throw that kind of money around. This is our last chance to see something like that. So I don't know, but there are still I'm sure the crew, the production for Primal is pretty tiny. I'm sure it's a pretty small. So if, there are still going to be small independent productions that are going to be able to pull off some impressive stuff. So maybe we'll see something.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, careful, Matt. You can't like the Empire. Remember, you can't be sympathetic. That makes you a bad guy online. You got to put some. You got to change the emojis. Well, remember that thing where anybody that wanted to play stormtroopers or whatever, and that started a while ago. Where anybody, if you want to play an Imperial character, that means you're a fascist. Yeah.
Oh.
You can't do it now. It's impossible.
Well, that's the death of all fiction, is when you start assigning real world stuff to it.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't actually like the Empire, especially the current incompetent boob version of the Empire.
Right. Yes.
Like, when I was a kid and the first 3 movies came out, the Empire was scary. You know, at least to a kid, it was scary, and like. And seemed powerful. They seemed powerful.
Yeah, right.
And the new version's pretty lame. Although the Andor series made them scary.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they really did, and part of that was because they kept all the hocus pocus out of it. Right, it was just real people dealing with fascists.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And they're going to just put you in one of those prisons for absolutely no reason, and that's where you're going to die. Yeah. I think that they did nail it, and also the they made compelling characters, like some of the Imperial characters that are just careerist, savage careerist people trying to climb this ladder. They made those real people. They're bad, they're shitty people, but they're real people, and you could see where a lot of the complication came in, because there's so many people with kind of cross purposes, or they, were sabotaging each other just for, advancement in their rank. Yeah. Good stuff. I hope we get another season of Andor, and I hope they handle it as well as they did the first one. And I'm sure nobody's going to watch. It's going to have like low ratings, and so there'll never be another one. But
but that's okay, because last I heard, it's supposed to end right, like days before Rogue One.
Oh, nice. Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is totally fine with me. That was what was so great about Rogue One, right? It was like, hey, they all die. Like, Star Wars never does this, but they did it. That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. Oh, did you ever watch the old the HBO Rome series?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that the original, if the budget would have been taken away from them by there was some other show that was popular that kind of took their budget away. That show was gonna the end of that series was going to be the birth of Christ. Like, they were actually, like, they had plans, all the historical events, all the way up to telling the history of Rome, in their kind of fictionalized way, like more, dramatized way. But that was the original intention for the, like, I think 6 seasons or something. But yeah, they lost their budget and just couldn't do it. Then they got canceled.
I really enjoyed that series. It felt to me like the prototype for how the Game of Thrones show was done.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Like, it was brutal. Yes, it was sexual, but it was also funny and epic in its own way. And like, I thought it was really cool. And those 2 main characters, Titus Pulo and the other guy whose name I think started with a V.
Oh,
more serious.
Yeah.
The straight man.
Yeah, right.
I love those characters, man. I was so on board following all their silly shenanigans. That was so cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that was the Pulo was the same actor in Ahsoka, right? That was the same.
Yeah, Ray
Donovan. Yeah.
Who died?
Yeah.
Because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Probably could have been the best thing on Ahsoka.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's too bad. But I was just. Oh, I think it was Deadwood. That's right. I think Deadwood and Rome were competing for budget at the same time from HBO, and they both suffered because of that. They were, 2 shows that, one of them should have been made, not at the same time. But
Deadwood was good too. Oh, and did you see they officially, Max or Warner Brothers or whatever the hell they are now,
right.
officially officially canceled Tokyo Vice.
Oh yeah, I saw
Which
that.
pissed me off, but the creator said they had a plan for a season 3,
Mm-hmm.
so they're gonna shop it around.
Oh yeah, that's
And
definitely possible.
I really hope someone picks it up because man, that was a good show.
Mm. Yeah, we've seen that stuff jump from. Yeah. Oh yeah, and like a good example of that is Scavenger's Reign. That got one season. And that animated series, I got one season on Max, and I think it's moving over to Netflix. That's really good. That was, for me, like bringing it back to tabletop, that was really inspiring for how to do like exploration, discovery in an unknown, alien world, because visually they let the audience just like try to figure out what the hell is going on here. Is this thing making food? Is it making poison? Is it getting ready to attack? Like you had all these plants, this fauna and flora. You could barely tell what it was. And so like the observation, and they pick up the story like after a crash landing, but all of the survivors have already figured out how to eat and how to live on this planet. So the processes, the things that they kill, the substances they need to power their machines and stuff are all very, kind of playful and weirdly alien. And it was it's very inspirational for how to maybe do a system of exploration and discovery where you have to find things to survive, and it's kind of trial and error. Things are killing you or things are poisoning you, and it was good stuff. Oh yeah, Rosario Dawson. Yeah, I mean, she was a perfect casting. I think she's a little, that maybe needed a stunt double for her, a little more agile stunt double for her.
She did, and also all the main actors in that needed a director who can really challenge and bring out stuff from actors.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I don't think, what's his name, Filoni knows how to do that because he's used to animation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and she, like, just that Ahsoka actress Rosario Dawson is so charismatic. She's done some really compelling, really charming, really playful characters, and there was nothing of that. She occasionally grinned, a small grin, but yeah, she should have had more kind of atmosphere.
They turned her into that monotone, stoic Jedi thing that I was talking about earlier, and it's like that's not Ahsoka at all. Like, if and Dave Filoni should know because he freaking created the character.
Right.
Ahsoka is passionate and a hothead, and like that's part of the reason she, kind of walks the line, right? She's more like a gray Jedi or whatever. It's like because she's always been that way.
Yeah, it was definitely a wasted. But they wasted a prequel, or like a between the series Ben Kenobi story. They wasted a lot of opportunity for some interesting storytelling.
They've made some choices that I feel like had to have been executive interference. Like in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I get it was done during the pandemic and it wasn't done very well, but all the stuff with baby Leia it just felt weird. And then I'm looking at the one that kills me is that Mandalorian episode with Jack Black and Lizzo.
Yeah.
Which felt like an episode of the 70s Love Boat show.
Right. Yeah, it really did.
And it's just like, what are you doing? Like,
right. Yeah. And it may be too that the people they're kind of getting amateurs or people that haven't had, a lot of access to celebrity and stuff. So if they cast people that they're, get a little starstruck around, it just gets weird. Oh, the thing that I realized very late, and don't know why this was a choice, why does that, what they called initially Baby Yoda, why does that Grogu character have the eyes of a Funko Pop? Like, was that intentional? Like, it has the black eyes of a Funko Pop. So when you do a Funko translation of that, it looks exactly like the character because it's got black eyes, but none of the other characters from that species of alien have black eyes. So that was weird. It was almost like they designed it to be merchandise. It's like
they did.
Yeah, it'll be easier if it's just got all black eyes because they look big. It looked like giant pupils, right? Like these huge pupils that are all zoomed in, all dilated.
I'm sure they were like, "Oh, that's cute. We should go with that."
Yeah, that's so bizarre because I never understood that aesthetic choice for those collectibles, for those vinyl toys, and they did it with a character that's like, just give them all black eyes. That looks lovely. Giant black saucers.
Yeah, Mandalorian is like, it's really hot and cold for me. Like, there's some episodes that I really enjoyed. Usually it's where it's a little more episodical feel, more Western feel.
Yeah, that was fun.
Tying back to what Gargamon was saying, more Western feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were other episodes where you're like, what are they doing? What is this?
And I think there was some weird, there's a lot of stuff, and there's always economics and contract stuff that shapes these productions that we don't know about. But I think there was like attempts to cut Pascal's salary because it's like, we'll just use your double. You can be a voice actor. We'll give you a voice actor salary. You don't have to be there. So I think there was like, so then they kind of were writing him out of his own series almost. He was like taking a background to, Bo-Katan and stuff because she didn't always have her helmet on. So it became really weird. Like there were probably some, weird negotiations that we don't know about that really screwed up the storytelling. And how they eliminated the Gina Carano character from the first season. And then you're just like, okay, so she never existed now. And yeah, it was like, there was some weird, politics and economics that went on that we don't know how it ruined the show.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, I think her character wasn't that important. And just my personal opinion is like, she should have just collected her paycheck and kept her mouth shut. It was, that's my opinion. But either way, I think that show had bigger problems than.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah. But I just think that kind of stuff was weird and jarring, and I think it makes the viewers be like, oh, what's exactly going on? Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, I think that's everybody should just be told that everyone's agent should just warn them. This is Disney. Just, if it's a good check, just, just put your head down and get through it. And then once you're done with Disney, you can say whatever the hell you want about them.
Yeah. How does anybody sign a contract with a major television or film company and not get told?
Yeah.
Until this contract expires, your social media better just be pictures of you on the beach or
on a red carpet.
At a red carpet.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but we wouldn't really know, the kind of bullying and weird stuff without her firing. I think we wouldn't know like how things fell apart with directors and things, because it was always so strange. Like, why did this director walk away from this project? Why did they take it away from it? It's just because they didn't toe the line, and it's just they didn't take the notes. You ignore our notes, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, you're off the film.
I mean, it's usually executives making decisions they're not really qualified to make, and they're making them more out of fear. I think that's why those original writers left the Solo movie, was because they were going for a way looser Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing, and I think that scared Disney.
Yes, yeah, that's funny.
But it's late.
Pedro Pascal, yeah, that's right. Thank you. Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
I should probably wrap up.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm forgetting about time zones. I'm making poor hungover Matt miserable trapped in a television. Everything is beyond your control. All right. Well, thanks, Matt. I appreciate it, and thanks for hanging in there with some Star Wars. So this is the ramble section. Yeah, you got the banter. This is the Star Wars ramble. Pedro Pascal. All right. Yes, everyone's nodding off. Sorry, West Coast. Sorry, North America. All right. So thanks, everyone, for joining us, and appreciate everyone, all patrons and members. You are greatly appreciated. And tune in for Dune tomorrow, a little bit earlier than this time. Hopefully Matt can get some rest.
Yeah. I'll take a nap.
Good. So, thanks for watching, and we'll be back again next week.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.